Hey, what's going on, everyone? Or as I always say, whoever joins me tonight, welcome back to my channel. Let me make sure that I can see myself on YouTube here. All right. Wait for this. All right, your channel. Thank you to whoever left me that like before the stream started. That is always helpful. That is always appreciated. All right, T Riddler, you're not going to take over tonight's stream. I'm just playing, man. I'm just happy you're here. How you doing? How you doing this week, T Riddler? How was your weekend? You are the first one in here. Okay, that still says upcoming. All right, let me close that. Okay, 1 hour, 1 hour, 1 hour, or maybe slightly over, but we're not going 2 hours tonight. I promise you that. I can guarantee you that we're not going 2 hours tonight. Let's see. And T Riddler, you should be able to see the importance and the utility of all of this. All right, let me get rid of Scarlet. Okay, T Riddler says, I'm well. I hope all is well in the DMV. Yep, it was, yeah, the weather was a little more manageable today. It's a 4-day week. So I'm looking forward to a shorter week, another shorter week. All right. Black Nerd Talks, thank you for being here. All right, guys, we're going to talk about the article. This is not, let me see. This is over a year old, but Mr. Z, another, this article is circulating around, and hold on. Hold on, give me a second here. My computer's being a little glitchy tonight. Yeah, so this article has been circulating around for a while, but I was watching a reckless stream last night, and during this reckless stream, Mr. Z keeps posting certain things, and I said, you know what? Let me talk about this. I was going to do something else, but I don't have the energy to do that tonight. So I'm going to play my intro, and then we're going to jump in, and then I'm going to try to get off of here in just over an hour. Hopefully, not belabor this. So, Curtis Scone, life is not about having fun all of the time, and there are no political solutions for cultural deficiencies. Please smash that like button. Please consider subscribing if you are not subscribed. And let's jump in. So, where did this topic come from? So, I'm going to admit that because of where I come from, see, in this world, we're all living in different worlds, and not everybody is privy to the same information.
That we will rush to finish things that are important so we can do things that are not. And I believe it's an immaturity there. People just don't understand that, life isn't about having fun all the time. You have to have fun sometimes. I agree. But as an adult, there's time where you have to just say, okay, listen, I got to get down to work right now. And I don't think enough of us value that time or really understand the fruits of that labor. Somehow we think things are just going to be without that kind of effort. And culturally, there's a deficiency there. That's why I always say that there's no political solution for cultural deficiencies.
So, where did this topic come from? So, I'm going to admit that uh, because of where I come from, see, in this world, we're all living in different worlds, and not everybody is privy to the same information. In this world, we're all living in different worlds, and not everybody is privy to the same information. All right, guys. So tonight, the topic of tonight's stream is I'm almost cringing reading this. Black and Latina women who never marry are the least wealthy in the USA. The actual title is "In the United States." I had to shorten that to you only have 100 characters for your YouTube titles. But this, this is an interesting topic because it relates to things I've been talking about here, and it relates to things that other people are talking about at large now. I'm thinking about the George Fraser uh, snippets that I played over the last couple of weeks. I'm thinking back to when Ray Alexander, shout out to Ray Alexander. We're not going to denigrate professional young ladies here. Ray Alexander, about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years, wanted me to give some reaction to Patrick Bet David's um, video on Asian families, and why they're killing it in terms of wealth. And one of the ingredients in terms of why and how they were killing it turned out to be uh, their marital rates. Let me pull this up really, really quickly. Give me a second here. All right, let's see. Let's see if the technology works for me tonight. Let's keep our fingers crossed. I did restart it earlier this morning. You guys keep letting me know what you think there in the chat. Okay, there we go. All right, let's see. The Peter. All right, copy. All right, so far so good. Black Nerd Talks, if you're still there, how are you doing? How are things up in the 50? No, I won't say that. I won't make that joke. I was going to say the 51st state, but that was a pretty inflammatory thing our current president said. Let's see. Let's see. Where is it? Yeah. Okay. This data set here. I've spent a lot of time dwelling on this data set. Shout out to my mom. You should show data in your live streams, and you should talk about things that relate to the Black community. Okay. Um, as it relates to median household income, I've shown this ad nauseum. You guys might be tired of seeing it, but this basically breaks out the median household income in 2023 by race and ethnicity. And while typically in Black families, we tend to look at white families, whereas Diamond David W. Williams says Anglo families, we tend to look at them as the gold standard in terms of who's first in this metric. But it actually, for years now, has ended up being Asians, so Southeast Asians and Indians. And when I first looked at these data sets, I wondered, does that have something to do with partnering or the lack thereof? And based upon what Mr. Fraser said, and based upon um, what Patrick that David highlighted in his talk, yeah, getting married has something to do with that. Now, a couple of weeks ago, or it was the pre-Father's Day stream that I did. I did state that I didn't. Once I started thinking about wealth, and my gateway to thinking about wealth was the Rich Dad Poor Dad books. Um, at that point, I still didn't think about marriage as being a wealth building tool. And in that discussion, in that pre-Father's Day discussion, I did note that I had a Nigerian buddy in upstate New York who mentioned that to me the first time, that marriage is a wealth building tool. My divorce was all throughout my family. My parents are twice divorced, and my father, who was the primary male figure in my life, all I heard most of my childhood was about how bad women were, and having to make support payments and having his family ripped from him. So I never looked at it in a positive way growing up, and I certainly never looked at it as a wealth building tool. But there seems to be something to that. So I want to close that. So the basis for tonight's stream is this piece right here. On my work, I probably shouldn't have said this out loud, but on my work PC, Black Enterprise threw up a you had to either accept their ads or not. But on my home PC, they appear not to be enforcing that. So this is the basis of tonight's stream. It's called Black and Latina Women Who Never Marry Are the Least Wealthy in the United States. The subheading there says, a recent study has found that Black and Latina women who have never married have the least amount of wealth in the United States. So a lot of things are coming up now. The birth rate crisis, open letters for men to come back. Men, where are you? Men, come back. A lot of ladies. Passport OG just made a brilliant video. All of Passport OG's videos are brilliant, but he just made a brilliant video today, I think, highlighting all the ladies on TikTok who don't want to be mothers, who don't want to have children, who don't want to bring new life into the world. So there are a lot of things that are coming to a head now. There are a lot of things that people are looking at. George Fraser is concerned about the pending doom of the Black community as we know it. So people are talking about this. Hey, have any of you guys watched Book of Alpharonomy, B of A? Have any of you guys, there are only two of you guys there right now, with BOA? There's a reason I'm asking this. Are you guys familiar with BOA? There's a channel called Book of Alpharonomy, and it's a men's channel. And there are times when, the master teacher is here. Digital bow. I'm punching the clock. My little puny version of punching the clock. Book of Alpharonomy. Okay, so who does book? I was thinking about this earlier. So when I showed this article, there are some people who are going to look at this and say, misogyny, misogyny, misogyny. You're engaging in misogyny. I was accused of that years ago. But Book of Alpharonomy, he does this little parody of his detractors, where he goes into this voice that goes something like this. Oh, Dr. Dunbar, you're engaging in misogyny. You're swimming in toxicity. You hate Black women. Oh, unsubscribe. And then BOA goes, well, hold on, sucker. Before you leave, let me tell you something. this low wealth for single women is a big thing, and it's hurting a lot of people. It's been going on for a while. So it's just funny. I was thinking about that earlier. Someone's gonna look at this, and the fact that I'm presenting this could be this could be interpreted as misogyny, but this is actually a really big deal. Oh, Dr. Thunder. I'm sorry, Dr. Thunder. Archbishop. Is that it? Is that it? Archbishop Thunder. That's your new name. All right. So BGS is here. I better get on it. Okay. So we've talked about George Fraser. George Fraser. BGS knows all well who that is. Dr. Thunder is a musician, and Passport OG made a video a couple of weeks ago highlighting Whitney Houston's one of her songs. I think it's I can't remember what that song was, but I told him afterwards, I told you guys afterwards that lately I've been listening to a lot of Anita Baker. Okay. And we don't hear a lot of music like that anymore with women expressing love for their men. Okay. We've got Meg Thee Stallion and Glorilla and Doechii, and we've got the complete opposite. And I've been listening to Anita Baker, and there's a song that she had called Fairy Tales. It's a very riveting song, and it reminded me a lot of what is happening today. And I think that across the board, what we're seeing a lot of people, men and women, young men and young women, maybe some a little into their 40s, maybe knocking on 50, wondering whether or not they were told the right things growing up, and wondering why they weren't told certain things growing up. So let's take a look at these lyrics from Fairy Tale really quickly. And it's a sad song. All of Anita Baker's songs are great. Most of them are great, but it's a sad song when you listen to it. All of her songs are very well put together. I can remember stories, those things my mother said. She told me fairy tales before I went to bed. She spoke of happy endings, then tucked me in real tight. She turned my night light on and kissed my face goodnight. My mind would fill with visions of perfect paradise. She told me everything. She said he'd be so nice. He'd ride up on his horse, take me away one night. I'd be so happy with him. We'd ride clean out of sight. She never said that we would curse, cry, and scream and lie. She never said that maybe someday he'd say goodbye. The story ends, the stories do. Reality steps into view. No longer living life in paradise of fairy tales. Okay. She spoke about happy endings of stories not like this. She said he'd slay all dragons, defeat the evil prince. She said he'd come to save me, swim through the stormy seas. I'd understand the story. It would be good for me. You never came to save me. You let me stand alone, out in the wilderness, alone in the cold. I'll just do a few more. My story ends as stories do. Reality steps into view. No longer living life in paradise. No fairy tales. Yes. Okay. Let's see. There was one more. I'll read this one. You never came to save me. You let me stand alone, out in the wilderness, all alone in the cold. I found no magic potion, no horse with wings to fly. I found the poison apple, my destiny to die. No royal kiss could save me, no magic spell to spin. My fantasy is over. My life must now begin. Okay, she sings it a lot better than I read it, but I think it's very telling and predictive of today. So let me load this up. I saw something this morning that I think dovetails nicely into this. Let me close that. BGS is George Fraser, is he considered a pro a conscious pro-black. Okay, give me a second here, guys. All right, I'm just looking for it, guys. I should have had this queued up before we started, but uh, come on. I'm not as good as at the Dr. Thunder models I thought I would be. Okay, guys, I found it. Give me a second here. All right. Okay, come on, YouTube. Come on. Help a brother out. All right. While we wait for that, VGS More says the tangle of pathology is complete. Very much so. Okay, so he is a pro-black, a conscious pro-black. Okay. Let me see if this is working for me here. Okay, there we go. I have to clean out the temporary files. Okay, fair use, fair use. I saw this this morning, and again, this gets back to a lot of people are looking around now and wondering, uh, were they told the right things? If not, why? Okay, and why? Yeah, why they weren't told the right things? Okay, why they were told to focus on certain things when they were younger? A lot of people are looking around at that right now, and why they weren't told the right things to do. Fair use, fair use.
The narrative that our elders gave us, telling Black women that when we're young to focus on our career and focus on our education and don't focus on our boys, is what's keeping Black women single. And this is on the heels of the topic that I've been seeing a lot lately, especially in Black women that are like 30 plus, that are talking about, like, I wish I would have did differently in my 20s because I was playing around, I was doing nonsense, I was dealing with people that didn't deserve my time, and now I'm 35 and I don't have anybody to share my success with. I don't have anybody to share these degrees with. I don't have anybody to go home to at night. And don't get me wrong, I do think our elders had a point. I think they probably should have specified, don't deal with no knuckleheads. Don't deal with no nonsense. Like, don't deal with somebody that's not equally yoked or on the same type of time with you. Because I think having a man, though, does not necessarily take away from your career or from your education if you're dealing with the right man. And keep in mind, no other race tells their daughters this. Like, no other race tells their daughters not to get married. No other race tells them that a man will take them away from their future and their career and all the things that are going to happen for them. The numbers talk. We're literally the lowest demographic when it comes to being married. So it shows that you can definitely be married while also being successful. Now, this is not saying that everything that they do is right. Okay, like, that's not what I'm saying at all. But what I'm saying is nobody else tells their daughters this because they see the beauty and they understand the, what's the word? The word is importance, because they see how important a marriage is when it comes to career elevation, when it comes to societal's, perspective on who you are as a person. Because yes, like, I understand you don't have to be married to be a good person, but it's just our society. And at the end of the day, you can either learn to work with it or continue to work against it. And I think
Hey, BGS, since you're there, I mean, did you talk to your kids and your daughters about the importance of getting married and the advantages of it and the benefits of it? Did you teach them about that? Fair use, fair use.
a lot of times Black women, we lean into our education and our resume as a way to kind of approach men, especially when you get to that older demographic of like 30, 35 plus women. I can see the pattern of like those women constantly like, I got this degree, I got this business, I got this car, I got this house, like, where my man at? Why my man not here? Which is a totally valid argument. But I think partially is you have to start earlier. Like, because the thing is, the older you get, the harder it is to find somebody. And we keep seeing this. Like, we know for sure whenever you're in your early 20s, mid 20s, people are starting to get married. People are starting to have children. So those standards that you had when you were 21, you can't really have at 35 because things have changed. People's lives have changed. And at the end of the day, you have to look at your demographic. Once you hit like 30, most of the men that you're going to deal with are going to have at least one child. And if you originally were, I don't want no kids, I ain't doing it, it's going to make it extremely hard for you to find someone. So I definitely don't think that our girls should just be dealing with any old guy, but I do think that we should start instilling like the importance of marriage and like the importance of that union, and like encourage them to find someone that they can really build with, someone that makes sure to nurture them, somebody that encourages them to get their education and start those businesses and do all the endeavors that they want to do while being a wife, while being a mother, if that's what you desire to do. Because I know that's not everyone's desire, but I do think that we need to stop telling our daughters to like not focus on men, because the other topic is we don't know how to date. We don't know what to look for. We don't know how to properly, be courted, because all our childhood we're being told no boys, no boys, no dates, you can't do this, you can't do that. And it's like, it makes it extremely hard when you're adult and you're trying to navigate dating and you've been told that you can't do something for so long. It makes it.
So I know that for my generation, a lot of the girls were told that don't worry about guys, get your degree, keep your legs closed. I mean, I'm not saying all that happened in terms of the legs being closed and everything, but I know that was the narrative. And she clearly wasn't told that her Prince Charming was coming like Anita Baker's mom was. And also it's interesting that that last thing she said sounded eerily familiar to what someone who has passed on to ancestorship said on his show every night about why can't you do these things all together at once. Let me finish this out. Fair use, fair use. She's almost done.
It's really hard.
Why can't you stay organized? I've experienced this myself, and it's called chronic impulse control, where you prioritize.
And this is literally straight from the horse's mouth. Like, a lot of the older women that I've talked to, especially my mentors, are usually in their 30s and their 40s doing very well for themselves. And they're always like, the only thing that I would have did differently is really found somebody that I could build with, because it's hard dating. Like, it's nothing to play with. And they always tell me, like, girl, if you find one now, keep them. Don't let them go, because it's going to get hard. And you rather find somebody that really loves you and appreciates you so y'all can build, and you want to start earlier. So like later on, this is not a concern for you because you've already started. You've already laid the pavement.
Now, I do think a lot of older women from.
Okay, that video is from Dating Right. That's WRIGHT. I just saw that this morning. I thought it would fit well in this. But it looks like that young lady, she's getting good advice now. I don't think that advice is being given across the board. I met an Alpha Kappa Alpha at the Cigar Lounge probably earlier this year. And I remember she told me, this is all anecdotal, but she told me that a lot of her higher ups in the organization, they were divorced and single, and um, they weren't giving good guidance in terms of finding someone and settling down with someone. So I think that that advice across the board is varied. But so clearly she was told, and as with a lot of my peers, and I think those coming after us they were told, okay, well, actually my dad said that too. Don't worry about, settling down until after 27. And then we look around and we see our peers of other ethnic groups partnering a lot earlier. So I thought that would be a good lead into this. Okay, so before I get to the article, it's a very, very short read, I promise. Let's just do a very, very quick review from Investopedia. What is wealth? What exactly is it for those who don't know? I know, all of you guys probably know what is wealth. Let's just for the sake of completeness. Building wealth. Okay, wealth is the total value of assets owned by a person, community, or country. It's measured by taking the market value of all physical and tangible. Let me read that again. It's measured by taking the market value of all physical and intangible assets owned, then subtracting all debts. That's huge. Then subtracting all debts. What have we heard about the student loans and who owns most of it? It could be seen in either absolute or relative terms. Okay, I'll read this last paragraph. Building wealth refers to the accumulation of scarce resources. Accumulation, everybody, not spending everything up, not consuming everything. Accumulation. Building wealth refers to the accumulation of scarce resources. People, organizations, and nations are said to be wealthy when they have accumulated many valuable resources or goods. Wealth can be contrasted with income in that wealth is a stock and income is a flow. Okay, let's take a look at this article from Black Enterprise. Now, you guys have probably seen this before, but this was the right time for me to take a look at this. Exactly, Aquatech. Notice they said accumulate, not spend up everything on trips to Dubai and on BMWs and Mercedes Benzes and handbags and 5-star restaurants for brunch. It said accumulate. Please smash that like button. Please consider subscribing if you are not subscribed. Okay. I will drop this link. This is the actual Black Enterprise piece. I think this was published on multiple platforms. I couldn't get to this version earlier at my 9 to 5. All right. Black and Latina women who never marry are the least wealthy in the United States. All right. A recent study has found that Black and Latina women who have never married have the least amount of wealth in the United States. So as I read through this, and where I'm going to end this article is, what are the root causes of this? How could this happen? How could they be the furthest behind and last place in terms of wealth in the United States? Let me blow that up from my eyes. Close that. A recent study has found that Black and Latina women who have never married have the least amount of wealth in the United States. According to an analysis by the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, 23% of adults who have never been married have significantly less wealth than married couples, with unmarried Black and Hispanic women being the most impacted, via Bloomberg. Research found that in 2022, the median wealth of a Black woman was only 8 cents for every dollar owned by a white man, $3,300 to be exact. Hold on a second. All right, StreamYard is back. Unwed moms with minor children from any racial background come in just a few $100s ahead of single Black women with a median of $3,900. The racial disparities are highlighted across demographics, with white women who have never been married making 10 times the amount of Black women who have never married, with a median wealth of $31,000. Okay, but never married Black women, never married Hispanic women, and never married mothers of any race or ethnicity were the most financially vulnerable. Okay, I'm a scientist, guys, so I'm going to ask the question, why? Why would that be? Why? Why would they be the most financially vulnerable? Okay, come on, StreamYard. I have my hard connection here, but it's doing this thing. Hold on. I guess this is called struggle streaming. All right. White men. White men, white men, white men. White men who have never been married are trumping ahead of unwed women with a median wealth of $40,000. Research shows how gains in housing costs is helping women catch up, but only if they own real estate. All the while, never married men had a jump in wealth in 2022 due to having less debt in 2019. Remember, the definition of wealth was your assets minus your debts. The latest findings come 1 year after a Pew study found that in 2022, Black women earned 70% as much as white men, and Hispanic women earned only 65% as much. The pay disparity highlights how much harder it is for certain groups to accumulate wealth over time, with never married Black women topping the list. The National League of Cities released a report in 2023 to identify municipal strategies to narrow the racial wealth divide, with home ownership and the end of redlining strategies being at the forefront. Other suggestions provided by Brookings included increased taxation of wealth, strengthening of the Earned Income Tax Credit and Child Tax Credit, reparations, targeted homeownership subsidies, and lowering the costs associated with higher education. Okay, that's a couple of years ago, about 2 years ago. No, this was published last year. So we know now the student loans are being called in. Wage garnishments are coming. We know who holds most of the student loan debt. But it's interesting. It's interesting. Hold on. How you frame some of these things really matters. So I think it's interesting that instead of encouraging couples, they're separating the genders out. So think about Dr. Thunder did a stream this morning on the Diary of a CEO podcast from last week or 2 weeks ago. So that matters. That matters if you're doing it. And I wondered at one point, getting a mortgage, accumulating assets, is that something we're supposed to do alone by ourselves? But it seems as though there's been a social effort to get women to do this on their own. And then the question is, were they ever meant to do that on their own? All right. So I think there's something that's not adding up there. Okay, I am at 40 minutes. I want to end in about 2025. I'm going to show you. So the question is, if they're single and they're in last place in terms of wealth. Okay, and if well, what are the root causes of that? What would cause that? So there's another channel I watch, David W. Williams, also known as Diamond Dave. I watched one of his streams over the weekend. He's taking a break. I think I'm about ready to take a break soon myself. He always brings up the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and I'm going to bring those up right now. If I can find it here. Yeah, here they go. And you see something interesting when you bring these numbers up. Okay, come on, Chrome. Come on, come on. All right, guys, give me a second here. All right, if any of you guys want the Black Enterprise article, it's here. But you can do a quick Google search as well. Let me close that. I think that's slowing my unit down. Okay, let me close that. Oh. All right. So the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So one of the arguments, especially in our particular ethnic group, the Black community, we're still arguing over who makes more. Okay. And Diamond Dave always keeps the Bureau of Labor Statistics data handy. And that's what we're looking at here. Okay, so what you're looking at for each of these bar charts, these are Alonzo Hall, the All-Star Advisor, he's there. Okay, this is median usual weekly earnings of full-time wage and salary workers by race, Hispanic or Latino, ethnicity, and sex, first quarter 2025 averages, not seasonally adjusted. So your red bars there are your total. Your blue bars are men, and your dark blue bars are the women. Okay, so that first set says total 16 years and over, and you can see that the total per week, the median is 1,194 for men. It's 1,307, and for women, it's 1,096. Okay, so guys, remember when you're looking at a median, you're looking at a total distribution, and the median, that's your middle numbers. So that's your middle group. So you may have people blowing it out of the water on the top. You may have people very far at the bottom, but your median tells you where the majority of your people are. All right. Keep that in mind. It's a distribution. So for white people or Anglos, as Diamond Dave says, the total is $1,219. For white men, it's $1,342, and for white women, the median is $1,103. So white men are out earning in 2025. White men are out earning white women. For black people, The median total is it's an even $1,000. Okay, that's surprising. So for Black men, the total is the median U.S. weekly earnings for full-time wage and salary workers is $1,017. And for Black women, it's $984. So that's a difference of about $30. Okay, it's not a big difference, but Black men are leading there. Again, these are the median. You got to think about a distribution. There are Black women making 200,000, 300,000, 400,000. But this is your middle group. Please smash that like button if you haven't. For Asians again, going back to the George Fraser talk and the median household income data from the Census Bureau, they're whipping everybody. So their total weekly earnings for full-time wage and salary workers is $1,585. The men are making $1,822, and the women are making $1,455. Okay, so they're beating everybody. Okay, which is we've been hearing about that. But that article focused only on white men, which I think is a little bit disingenuous. You should look at who's leading everybody. So Hispanic or Latino, they're about even with us. The total for Hispanic Latinos is $929. For Latino men, Hispanic Latino men, it's $991, and for Latino women, it is $879. Okay, so wealth building. That tells you who's earning what. That gives you the median for who's earning what. But again, wealth building is also it's accumulation. It's what are you accumulating versus what are you earning. How much debt do you have versus what you're earning? How large are your bills for what you're earning? So I'm going to bring up, in this little time I have left, I'm going to bring back up this article, which will probably get me in trouble from somebody. Okay, so I'm going to bring this back up. Please smash that like button. All right. 45% of women estimated to be single and childless by 2030. I think this fits nicely with the young lady we just heard talking. Okay, I think that advice about worry about your degree and worry about the other stuff afterwards, I think that feeds into this. Where there's a paragraph here in this article that I think is very telling. There's a picture there of a woman and a cat. I'm not gonna talk about what Vice President J.D. Vance said during the Republican National Convention. I won't say it. You guys know what he said. Okay, here, I think this is very, very telling. Okay, now he doesn't break this out by race, but he says in this paragraph here, single women spend more than the average family household, especially when it comes to travel, nightlife, eating out, skincare, and beauty, retail shopping, etc. So, of course, economists will attempt to frame it in a positive light that nearly half of women are single and childless. It can only be good for the economy. Okay. So as it relates to that article, okay, what I'm thinking about from that article, number one, is the whole wealth building piece, was that ever meant to be done by one person alone? Okay. And then those ladies who are falling behind, are they consuming too much? Are they too indebted? Okay. And yeah, have they made decisions that are impeding them from moving ahead in this wealth race, whatever you want to call it? Or again, was it always the most appropriate thing to do to find a spouse and build together? Okay, that's what I thought about when I saw that, and I think that's the drum that Mr. Z, in his way, was really beating. You know, whenever he flashes that article. Okay, is this something that was meant to be done alone? And is the lifestyle of said people contributing to that? Okay, I'm going to read some comments here. BGS says the tangle of pathology is complete. I want to read that. Let's see, very much so. This is referring to George Fraser. Is he a pro-black and a conscious individual? Dr. Claude Anderson would be his equal. Salute to Money Motion. He said, I did, but they went the other way. They followed their mother's example. That was my question to him regarding his children and whether or not he taught his girls about getting married and finding someone and building with someone together. Akwaseki says, assets minus debts equals wealth. Yeah, and I feel for the people. I feel for the people who are so indebted right now that they can't climb out. And there are people like that out there. Salute to Dr. Dunbar in the chat. An analysis. $8 to every. Three. Yeah, I think it was 3,000. Financial literacy or lack thereof may play a role as well. It actually does. I don't know if you guys remember on TikTok, there was a dark skinned woman who looked like Biggie or Don DC Curry. Very odd looking woman making a lot of demands over on TikTok. A high voice. She came right out and said that she doesn't care about a net worth. She doesn't care about saving money. So not everybody is thinking that way. Saint Nick's 69 says, it seems to me though that the Latinas would have a higher likelihood of getting married. Yeah, that's another part of that. Though they typically don't subscribe to I don't need no man, I'm strong and independent philosophy. Yeah. I'm strong-minded and independent. I'm strong and independent, strong-minded and independent. Alonzo says, thanks for this, Doc. I've done something about this in the past. It stated Black women earn 90% of their counterparts, and that's from Brookings, but it is a few years old. St. Nick's 69 says, but BWs would have us thinking they were running rings around Black men. Yeah, that's, salute to Diamond Dave and also Medium Man for continuing to say, look at the statistics. The statistics and the data don't reflect that. So salute to those brothers for pointing us towards the truth. St. Nick's says the Hispanics pool the resources, though. Alonzo says it's about lifestyle. For example, to max out a 401k and an IRA is $30,500, assuming you'll reach 1 million. But the 4% withdrawal rate means 40K. Alonzo says if you can put 30,500 a year away for 32 years, it's equal to 1 million. It's safe to say that you're already living above a 40K lifestyle, meaning people also outlive their money. And he says, funny enough, the guy buying the Lakers for 10 billion is the owner of the Guggenheim, which sold Equitrust life insurance to Magic, 60% in 2015, worth 16 billion, and worth 36 billion today. Funny, right? Okay, yeah. Okay, well, I'm at 55 minutes. I think BGS is gone. I would have let him come up and give the benediction. Alonzo, you still there? You want to come give the benediction real quick? Are you still there? Or maybe Alonzo has run away as well. All right, Alonzo, I'm going to drop the link. If you want to come up for a minute. Well, actually, okay, you know what? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'll just conclude. So guys, this is my last stream for June. I normally take a break off. I normally take a break in August. And I know there's one Monday I'll be out in July. I won't be able to do this in July on one Monday. So I will do a few more streams before the end of August. But I was looking at Mr. Z last night, and he kept flashing this in addition to other things. But it's an important topic because it used to be that you would build together with someone versus being a lone wolf and a lone ranger and saying, well, I'm doing this all myself. I can get it by myself. But now the economy has changed, and what we're seeing is in other communities that wealth building, if you're interested in that appears to be a team sport with a man and a woman and a husband and a wife. And then the other piece to that is leaving it to your progeny if you have them. So a lot of people are choosing not to have them these days. So look at that when you get presented with that. When you get presented with that and the reasons why that's happening, don't just take the reasons they provided at face value in the article, because they'll say it and they'll say, okay, well, it's number one, they're comparing what Black women make to white men, but you need to open that up and compare it to all ethnic groups. Okay, and number one, the question has to be asked: is that something you should be doing by yourself? Do you have a realistic chance of living a prosperous life by yourself? Black Nerd Talks. And that's the other thing. If you are going to do it by yourself, you have to be very smart. You have to be very smart with your money, disciplined with your money and your credit. You probably don't want to splurge and do a lot of retail therapy. Okay. You don't want to do a lot of emotional spending if you're going to do it all by yourself. So Black Nerd Talk says, I had a family member say I can do bad all by myself. She's a doctor, and I live in Canada, by the way. Yeah, I mean, we started hearing all of that in the 90s, and our music and our culture by osmosis has gone up to places like Toronto and probably Montreal, and pretty much anywhere there's a Black community, even in Canada or the Caribbean, it spreads. Those lines. I could do bad by myself. I don't need a man. I don't want struggle love. I don't want to go 50-50. Yeah, it's gonna seep out everywhere. And it's probably gonna hurt pairing off. Aquateki says retail therapy gets a lot of people in trouble. It does. Yeah, there's nothing else I could say right now. Nothing else I can say other than yes, it does. It sounds funny. It sounds cool. It sounds novel. Retail therapy. It sounds cute, but do you have a plan for paying that off? And in many instances, the answer is no. Okay, Barry, let me give you a wrench. You don't have a wrench. You're a regular around here. So yeah, guys, I'm gonna end this out. When you hear about stuff like this, ask why, and also yeah, approach things with a sense of skepticism, especially if the person writing it or the think tank writing it is encouraging. Yeah, you can do this all by yourself. Yeah. Barry says it makes me think of how in the UK police they did a PSA to tell Nigerian women specifically to stop calling the police on their husbands over domestic disputes. Yeah, I heard about that. That once those families got into the West, got into Western societies, yeah, that it was call the police on my husband. Okay. All right, guys, this was my version of punching the clock. I'd better hop off. It looks like AB Media is going. David Glover, my boy David Glover, he's got his live show going. And I want to stretch out and maybe go to the gym tomorrow. So look for me on the next one. But going back to those Anita Baker lyrics, okay, it's interesting that in that instance, she was told. I think the significance of that song, and it's a song like all of her songs. That song touches you, but you really hear in that song that she thought she was going to have a rosy life with a prince who was going to come rescue her and whisk her away, and where they would live happily ever after. But she experienced something very, very different. So, what was she told was going to happen to her? What was she told that she was going to experience versus what did she actually experience? So, in the real world today, what were people told? What were they told was the right thing to do? What were they told that they were going to experience versus what are they now experiencing in their own lives? Sometimes the two don't go hand in hand, and your actual experience ends up being very, very different. Okay, before I go, guys, last week, I forgot to say this last week. When I did the reaction to the Diary of a CEO, the feminist panel, there was one song I forgot. I did mention What a Man by Salt and Pepper. The other song I just forgot during the stream was another Salt and Pepper song, and that was None of Your Business. Okay. And the lyric in the song, if I want to take a guy home with me tonight. I mean, not me, but Salt and Pepper. That's what they said in the song. If I want to take a guy home with me tonight, it's none of your business. If she wants to get freaky and sell it on the weekend, it's none of your business. I forgot to mention that during that stream, but the messaging is important. All of that impacts everybody. I could do bad all by myself. I don't need a man. Ain't nothing going on but the rent. You got to have a job if you want to be with me. Here's one for Mr. Z. House, car, job. House, car, job. If you don't have house, car, job, all that stuff matters. It affects everybody. All right. Guys, thank you for watching. My book. If anyone wants a copy of it, The Engineers, I'm selling the hard copy here to you guys for $25 and the paperback for $22. Just use any of the payment methods in that ticker and send me your mailing information on Amazon. Those prices are marked up. The hardcover is going for $35 and the paperback goes for $27. So with that, I'm going to wrap up and get ready for tomorrow. Thank you all for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments section below about any of this. Remember that median household income, you're looking at a distribution of numbers, but you're looking at what's happening with the majority in the center. Okay. All right, everybody, have a good night. As always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Always try to do your best. Take care, and I will talk to you all the next time. Bye-bye.